Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Hello, everyone. You are listening to the MC Lars podcast, the bi-weekly long-form podcast where I talk to fellow rappers, musicians, writers, educators, and DIY mavericks about their creative processes and influences. This week, we are talking to ChildsPlayNinja, who is a Juggalo YouTuber who made a name for himself making YouTube videos about the beef between Twiztid and ICP. And it's interesting how he's really doubled down on this niche and created an entire brand based around this, interviewing other Juggalo artists. Last week, I interviewed George, who runs Magic Ninja Entertainment, and CPN tells a story about going to visit the office and what happened when he live streamed that event. So it's a very, very topical, funny story and a great interview with an original dude. A lot of you may know that MC Snacks and I, every other week, we do a review of an old Psychopathic Records album. And it's been interesting drawing connections between the Lit Hop stuff and the Psychopathic Records stuff. On Wednesday, we have an episode featuring the Rude Boy. So many of you who are fans of ICP know that the Rude Boy has been part of ICP's crew for years, and he's referenced on a lot of the records. He's at a lot of their events. So we talked to him about Misery's debut EP, and Misery was the second artist ICP signed to Psychopathic Records. So we'll get more into that shortly. But today is Monday, December 21st, 2020. It's the night where apparently we'll be able to see the Bethlehem star tonight. Jupiter and Saturn are going to cross paths. This hasn't happened for like almost 40 years. The last time it happened was 1981, and it won't happen again, apparently, until 2239. So this is an epic event. So be sure to stay up late and keep your eyes peeled. Apparently, this is what happened when the kings, the wise men, brought gifts when Jesus was born years ago. Apparently, that's how they saw where the manger was. Crazy stuff. So stick around for that. This year, we did a lot of interesting episodes. Ended up doing most of the podcast remotely due to COVID. Some of my favorite ones this year were with DJ Clay, with Matt Fury, talking about Pepe the Frog, with Soul, with the 3-episode series I did with Weird Science. I talked to MC Chris. Mike Russo actually interviewed me, so I was a guest on my own show, and I talked to my wife the week our son was born. So it's been a very memorable year, hard in a lot of ways, but awesome in a lot of ways. We had our baby in May, and so I went on tour before that because I knew I wasn't going to get to do it until I was going to probably tour in the fall of this year, but that didn't happen, and ended up being the perfect time touring in February with Schaefer, the Dark Lord, and the Double Clicks. So thank you to everyone who came out. Thank you for everyone who supported our online shows. We have a Boxing Day show on Saturday with the Nerdcore guys, Frontalot, Mega Ran, Schaefer, and me. And Shubzilla and Bill Beats are opening. And then I'm doing a show for the Patreon Larsians, the people who supported the $10 a song tier. I'm doing a special live stream show where you can chat with me between songs. You can request songs. It's going to be tight. So you can still sign up at patreon.com/MCLars. And it's going to be tight. There's been a lot of Marvel songs this year I dropped, a lot of Star Wars songs. I haven't watched the new Mandalorian episodes, but I heard it's awesome. So no spoilers, please. Don't tweet me any spoilers, but I hope to do that over the break. This podcast, I never want to have ads on it, but it's sponsored by the people who support. So if you want to, support the podcast, just sign up, patreon.com/MCLars, and you'll get a shout out. This week, I want to shout out the new ones who just signed up, Aaron, Terry, and Amanda. And shout out to the old ones, Chewy, Shaw, Alex, and Stanley. This episode's question was, what is your favorite holiday movie? And so I posted about it on social media, and I got a lot of calls. So let's listen to the calls to hear what the fans have to say about their favorite holiday flicks. I asked a question on social media. The Larsens drop knowledge just like Wikipedia. To think about this or that, let me guess. These are the messages that some of y'all left. The first message we have is from Eric in Cleveland.
Hey Lars, it's Eric from Cleveland, and it's about 1 minute after you tweeted this. And seeing as how I'm in Cleveland, I think it should be pretty obvious that my favorite holiday movie is A Christmas Story, because a whole bunch of it was filmed right here in Cleveland. Next time you're in Cleveland, buddy, we'll go to the Christmas Story house. Tons of fun. Take care and happy holidays, my friend. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Eric. Merry Christmas to you, too. Happy holidays. That's a great choice. We actually watched that movie for the first time on Friday. I'd seen it, but my wife had never seen it. And very classic movie. So many funny, weird jokes, like when they go to visit Santa at the mall and he's throwing the kids down the slide. It's awesome. So yes, I'd love to see the Christmas Story house next time we're in Cleveland. Let's do it. Okay, this next person didn't leave a name or where they're from, but they picked an unorthodox film.
My favorite holiday movie has got to be Jack Frost. No, not the one with Michael Keaton, but the one with Shannon Elizabeth, where the convicted serial killer's soul comes into a snowman and in the form of a snowman, he comes back and goes on a murderous rampage with some very interesting cinematic deaths. But that is one of the best holiday horror films ever. All right, peace.
Peace. Thank you. That's a great recommendation. I've heard of that movie. I've never seen it, but I guess the holiday horror movies, it's a whole subgenre. I'm not talking about Halloween. I'm talking about Christmas horror movies. What's another one? Black Christmas. Apparently that's another good one. It got rebooted a few years ago, I think. Okay, here's another message. Be sure if you call in, leave your name and where you're from. But here's another recommendation.
Big shout out to Lars. My favorite Christmas movie by far is Tokyo Godfathers. Group of rejects from society who cobble together a family and touch the divine. Doesn't get much better.
That sounds like a Mount Nerdcore tour. Thanks for calling in, homie. Here's another message from Ryan in Pittsburgh.
What up, MC Lars? It's Ryan Kelly calling at you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard. Why, you ask? Because it is the only Christmas movie that I can think of that has a tie to you, which is Run DMC. It is, one of the coolest movies ever. Who doesn't love a happy story, with some bad guys, Gotta get some Christmas in Hollis. All right, man. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season to all you Larsons out there, and take it easy.
Die Hard. What a great choice. People don't think of that as a Christmas movie, but it definitely is a Christmas movie. And I watched it for the first time a few years ago on a flight back to California, and it's a great movie. So, Ryan, thank you for calling in, homie. All right, now we've got Ali calling from Tucson.
Hey, Lars, this is Ali from Tucson. My favorite Christmas movie, probably Home Alone growing up. Well, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Because I remember looking at that and being like, man, if I was in that position, this is how I would do this is how I would do that. And I would talk to my brothers and my sister and be like, man, we could have done this. This is what we would have done differently. Now as an adult, kind of ruined it by, you know what? I would have just called 911. But as a kid, it was the coolest thing to watch another kid just take apart these two dudes.
Thank you, homie. That's a great recommendation. Home Alone 1 and 2. I can't recommend the third one that much. But yeah, I had this conversation with Neil from Cuckoo Kangaroo about which is better. And he was saying how Home Alone 2 is a family favorite they watch every year. And both are great. I mean, there's kind of a similar plot, but beautiful choice. Great choice. Home Alone. I'm glad someone recommended that. Okay, let's see what the next recommendation is.
Hello, Mr. Lars, and who else it ever may concern. My favorite holiday movie to watch anytime is Home Alone 42, because 42 is a random number, and I like to think about number 42 when I'm home alone watching Macaulay Culkin on the TV, who coincidentally reminds me of the Hulk. Okay, happy holidays. Bye.
I didn't know there were 41 sequels to Home Alone. Macaulay Culkin reminds me of the Hulk as well. Great recommendation. Okay, here is a message from Miles.
MC Lars, it's Miles. Hey, my favorite Christmas movie has got to be Home Alone. I love the first one. The second one is great as well. I looked it up a couple days ago, and I guess there's just like a god-awful amount of like remakes and sequels, I guess, but none of them are as good as the first two. Those are really the only two Home Alone movies in my opinion. Great movie, hilarious, family-friendly. I would recommend it.
Great recommendation. Home Alone again. I think Home Alone is winning. It might be the most popular holiday movie of all time. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe at least for the millennials and that generation. But great recommendation. Okay, now this next person who called in recommended a movie that I watched a lot growing up with my sister. I'll let them explain more.
So my favorite holiday movie, it's more of a TV special technically, but it is A Muppet Family Christmas. It has Sesame Street characters, has Fraggle Rock in it. I've always just loved the Muppets growing up. It's got great humor to it, and it does a really neat crossover thing for these big crossovers. Just the songs are great, the humor is great. They even did like live action Muppet Babies, well, puppet Muppet Babies. But I can't recommend it enough. But otherwise, just everybody have a great holiday and watch out for the icy patch.
Great recommendation. I think it's on YouTube. You can find it online or some of the torrent sites. Great recommendation. Okay, now we've got a message from Will in New York. Will is a comedian who works for Stitcher and had me on his podcast, and I saw him right before the pandemic.
Hey, Lars. This is Will, Will Carey from Astoria, Queens. My favorite holiday movie is The Muppet Christmas Carol. For a couple of reasons. The Christmas Carol is my favorite Christmas story of all time. I just really, really enjoy it. And I particularly love the Muppets, not only because I love the Muppets and their whimsy and the joy they bring, but I also find that Michael Caine's portrayal of Scrooge is one of my favorite performances of that character, as well as it being incredibly hilarious to see him playing the character so straight and to the point against the Muppets. So that's what I think makes it so great. Happy holidays, Lars. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Happy holidays, Will. That's a great recommendation. You know, that movie makes me kind of emotional, actually. I remember seeing it with my family after we moved. We moved from Oakland down to the Central Coast, and it was one of the first movies we went to. And there's a scene where the frog who plays Tiny Tim, gets really excited about the food for Christmas, and it's silly to like talk about this now, but he starts coughing because he's sick, and they're like, "Oh," the mom says, "You got him so excited, he's coughing." And I always felt this sympathy for this frog, this sick puppet frog who, you know, he can't even enjoy Christmas. He coughs when he sees the turkey and gets excited. So yeah, it's funny how certain things resonate with you. So Will, thank you for bringing that sad memory back, bro. No, I'm kidding. Great recommendation. Michael Caine's portrayal as Scrooge is dope in that movie. And by the way, I'm playing these all in the order that I got them, but you'll see a lot of similarities. Here's another recommendation for another version of A Christmas Carol.
Hey, this is Harrison. So my favorite Christmas movie ever is a version of the Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol. It's from 1970, and it's called Scrooge. I don't know how many people have seen this version. It's a musical. It stars Albert Finney when he was like 34, but they do all this dope makeup to make him look super old, and it's awesome. And it also has Alec Guinness in it, who plays Marley, which is great because you get to see Alec Guinness play a ghost a full 7 years before he'd be Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, so that's awesome. Anyway, the movie's killer. The songs are fantastic. Scrooge's whole theme in the beginning is called I Hate People, and it's pretty much a banger. And then at the end, they flip it, and the song's called I Love People, and it's even more of a banger. Super great. Everything you can expect from A Christmas Carol, goodwill towards your fellow man, and all of that. Also, it should be noted, this is a super hardcore version because the Ghost of Christmas Future straight up sends Scrooge to hell in Act 3 before his redemption. So, 10 out of 10, highly recommend.
So I have one question. I'm wondering why my fans are so cool. What did I do to get such great listeners? I've never heard of that movie, but it sounds dope. Thank you, Harrison, and thank you for your analysis. And the Star Wars connection is tight. It's appropriate for the Larsians. Holler. All right, this next caller is my man Ben from Former Fat Boys. Ben, what do you got to say?
Yo, Lars, it's Ben from I Wish I Were a Dinosaur and Former Fat Boys. Listen, we got the classics, Home Alone, Family Stone, The Holiday, Die Hard, Gremlins, The Grinch, Miracle on 34th Street, Hallmark movies like A Christmas Kiss, like all that stuff is amazing, but I want to talk about one movie that is just so underrated. It's a new classic, and I really want to see it catch on with a bigger fan base. Daddy's Home 2. Okay, the first Daddy's Home, it's Will Ferrell, it's Mark Wahlberg. They're two stepdads that are in a war with each other, right? The old dad, Mark Wahlberg, doesn't like the new dad. and Will Ferrell, and they go at it. It's not a good movie. But Daddy's Home 2 brings in John Lithgow as Will Ferrell's father and Mel Gibson as Mark Wahlberg's father. And that addition, plus the Christmas time bit where Mel Gibson's character decides to take the whole family to this Airbnb in the mountains, is amazing. There are so many fun twists. There's a whole scene with the dads and the thermometer, and Mel Gibson is a real hard ass. John Lithgow is a real feminine, in touch with his feelings guy. All the dads get super pissed off about one of the kids changing the thermostat. There's just so many great moments. There's a fake Liam Neeson movie at the end called Mistletoe, that should frankly be made into a real Liam Neeson movie, but it's hilarious through and through. You've got guest spots from guys like John Cena. You have hilarious, the children are hilarious in the movie. Everything is just perfect. It's one of the best holiday movies I've seen in a long time. I unexpectedly laughed my ass off on an airplane, and I just feel like no one saw the movie and no one knows it. There's an amazing snowball fight where one of the kids gets drunk at a nativity scene accidentally, and all the dads get in a snowball fight with each other, and it's just it's great. There's so many great holiday gags. You got to be in a movie, the mood for a dumb holiday comedy, family comedy, but it nails it. Daddy's Home 2. Love you, man. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you, Ben. That actually sounds really good. Sequels usually aren't amazing unless it's Empire Strikes Back or Godfather or Terminator 2. But that sounds like an example of classic cinema. I can tell you're passionate about it, and I got to check it out so we can talk about it next time. Ben was one of the few podcasts I did live this year. When we were in Chicago, we played a show in Chicago, and we hung out at our friend Ben's condo, and I interviewed him. And so that's what's up. Love you, Ben. Can't wait to see the Revenge of the Nerds 2 music video you're working on. Holler. Okay, let's go back to the South. This is my man Walter, the Southern Gentleman.
Hello to the Larson family. This is Walter, the Southern Gentleman. My favorite holiday movie, it's got to be a tie. Christmas Vacation or The Christmas Story. Those two evoke feelings that are similar yet different, but both of them are just wonderful ways to escape from life and escape from all the craziness of the Christmas season and just enjoy some time where you're not really having to think about anything except how funny some of these people are. And a close third is the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas, narrated by Boris Karloff, because that particular 22-minute wonderment is just delightful. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, Festivus, however you celebrate, Hanukkah. Enjoy it all, because it's all about the love. Take care.
It's all about the love. That's right. The Larsons are killing it this week with the recommendations. Thank you, Walter. Christmas Story, which we had. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is a Christmas classic. So many great scenes. Probably, arguably, the best of the vacation movies. The first one's really good, but the Christmas one is my favorite for sure. And the Grinch cartoon, I'm glad someone mentioned that. It's really good. The Jim Carrey remake is cool, visually, but it's not as dope as the Boris Karloff original. Boris Karloff, I think, also played Frankenstein back in the day. So it's interesting to have a classic Universal monster legend, being the voice, singing the song, telling the story, singing. Okay, let's go to Matt in Arizona.
Yo, what up, MC Lars? This is Matt from Arizona. My favorite Christmas movie is gotta be Die Hard, mostly because when you say Die Hard's a Christmas movie, sometimes people will argue with you, and I just like that. And also, shit blows up. Yeah, that's got to be it. All right, Merry Christmas.
Matt, thanks for calling in. Great recommendation. Die Hard again, a great Christmas movie. Check out Matt he does a project called Mattstagram, like punk rock stuff that's like meme friendly, Instagram friendly, TikTok friendly, quick, fun, funny songs. And I want to have him on the podcast next year as a guest and talk about his music because he's dope. Check it out. Mattstagram on Twitter. Okay, let's go to our last message of this week's show.
Hey Lars, best holiday movie is Elf. Not only is Will Ferrell hilarious in it, but it's also the only Christmas movie that has its own cereal. Have a great day.
Yo, that's some good trivia. Yes, Elf, a classic. You all recommended some classics this week, and thank you. So, next episode's question is, what is your New Year's resolution? I'm going to post about it on social media, but go ahead and call now. Write the number down, 510-463-4237. Again, that's 510-463-4237. And tell me your New Year's resolution. And it will be the first episode of the new year. So, yeah. Oh, and by the way, I got the idea for this segment from Cuckoo Kangaroo. They do a call-in segment similar to this. And I was like, hey, these guys have a great podcast, which you should all check out. I thought I'd use a similar theme. So anyway, let's get into it. This is my interview with ChildsPlayNinja on the MC Lars podcast. Well, I've been wanting to have this gentleman on the podcast for quite a while since I discovered his YouTube channel. We met briefly at the Dark Carnival Games convention in Denver. ChildsPlayNinja, who is a legend in the Juggalo community and has one of the most active YouTube channels about Juggalo culture. And anytime anything controversial happens, this man has made a video about it. So you have a lot of interesting things to say about the loyalty of Psychopathic and MNE and Twiztid and all of that stuff. And when you listen to a new song or album, is it hard for you to just enjoy it, or do you always think about how you're going to comment on it, and how you're going to do your commentary?
No, so with me, it still comes down a lot of it to the music. You know what I mean? When a new record comes out, I'll listen to it without thinking about doing a YouTube video on it or mention it on the podcast or anything. I'll just listen to it as I would, when I was 16, and then I'll listen to it again. And the next time I listen to it is when I make my notes on what when I review it or whatever. But I always have to listen to it the first time with it's just me, you know what I mean? Like, it ain't no CPN, no video, no nothing. It's just, I'm just a fan.
And so do you like to listen to new stuff like while you're driving or in your studio? Like, where's your favorite place to listen to music? Because I could tell that you listen to a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I have a very high variety of music that I listen to. There's even some country music out there I like. My wife got me really into Blake Shelton.
That's tight.
So if something new comes out, especially if it's like one of ICP's Joker cards or something, I have this tradition where I have to have headphones on and I have to sit in a place with the lights off and just lay down in the most comfortable area possible. And I just close my eyes and I take in the entire record in one shot. Afterwards, I can listen to it. Like, I obviously will listen to music in the car. I do a lot of driving, so, I want to listen to, if I'm listening to music or a pod, it's just what I feel like listening to. But if something's new, then it's in my car, it's in my headphones, it's on my computer when I'm gaming. It's just, if something's new and that's what I'm taking in at the time, it's everywhere pretty much.
That's tight. I mean, that's a luxury, right? To make time where you turn off your texts and turn off your Facebook and just enjoy something. It's kind of like a old art form, right? Back in the day when we used to listen to CDs, just being present with the content is special. And I think that's like cool that you do that. I mean, it shows you respect the music enough. I try to make time to listen to new stuff especially if it's an artist I love. But I find, man, it's in chunks. I'll listen to 3 songs while I'm doing something, and then, you know what I mean? Like, it's fragmented, and that's kind of not so fresh.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say the best time for me is pretty much a car ride, because, you know, especially if you're going to be driving for an hour and a half to whatever destination, that's a good block of time you could fill to go ahead and like listen to what you want to listen to and stuff, because you can't speed up your travel time. I mean, you can technically, but it's illegal and you might crash, or you might get a ticket. But in reality, if it's going to take me an hour and a half to get there, that hour and a half is spoken for. But in that hour and a half is where you can consume, you know, whatever you're trying to consume audio wise.
Where are you based?
I'm currently in Virginia.
Okay.
For 36 years, I was born and raised in Arizona. And I've basically been in Arizona for 36 years, and I recently moved out to Virginia, basically the end of 2019, in a sense.
I remember you had that video about Violent J's dad, right? That you kind of had met someone who knew him. What's the story with that? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, so I grew up in the same area that Violent J's dad lives in. And so when I want to say I was like 15 or 16, I was on the school computer, and I was looking up, you know, some ICP stuff. That's when, you know, I've been in ICP for like 3 years, you know, and I went to my first show, and everything's ICP for me. You know, I'm wearing shirts, I'm tagging all my notebooks and backpacks and whatever, you know, with ICP this, ICP that. So anyway, I'm looking at some ICP stuff up on the internet. Gotta understand, when I was 16, the internet was still dial up, and we didn't all have it at the time, you know, so... And you went to websites back then. You didn't just have your social media apps where you got all your info. So I'm looking at this ICP. I'm looking at ICP's website, and this chick's behind me, and she's like, "Yo, was that Insane Clown Posse?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Oh yeah, they're dope." Blah blah blah. And this other chick comes in, and she's like, "Oh, you like ICP? I know their dad." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And she's like telling me that one of their dads, like I guess people who don't know thought those two were brothers,
right?
And I know where the confusion came from, because he told people he has 2 sons that are in Insane Clown Posse. He does have 2 sons, just
Jump Steady's
not one of the ICP members, or he is, you know what I mean, like, but so that's where the confusion came from. And this chick, her parents were prison guards. And she was telling me that Violent J's dad is a prison guard with her, and he comes to their house and visits and stuff. You know, he's friends with their parents. I didn't believe nobody. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, okay, what are the odds? And then I meet this dude one time. I seen him in Walmart I was with my friends, and one of my friends knew him. And he's like, "Hey, Richard, what's up?" Blah, blah, blah. And I'm wearing my ICP shirt. He's like, "Oh, you like Insane Clown Posse?" And I go, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, Violent J's my son."
Wow.
That's random. But I mean, I don't believe him. I never saw him again after that. I was like, "Oh, cool." And then back in 2012, ICP released that song, "Fuck My Dad." And in that song, they literally talk about his dad is somewhere in Arizona, and he's a prison guard.
Right.
And I went,
so it had to be him.
Yeah. I went, what? And then so I made a video on that, and like half of my friends hit me up. They're like, "We told you, bro." I didn't believe any of you.
Did he look like them? Like, was there a resemblance, having seen Jay without makeup and stuff?
I guess. I mean, you can actually, on the Fuck My Dad song, there on the music video, there's a picture of him. Now,
really?
The picture they put on of him, that was him. Like, for the dude I met, I was like, yep, that was him. You know what I mean? But as far as him looking like Jay, I guess you have to like look, but you wouldn't like be able to tell by just staring at him now.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. So I take it you've read Behind the Paint, right?
Like 8 times. I've listened to the audiobook a few times. Yeah.
That's what's up. Do you have a favorite Joker's card?
Riddlebox. My first exposure to them was right before Malenko came out.
Okay.
But it was Riddlebox that was shown to me. It was literally like the first week of 1997. And this kid we knew, he was going out of town. I don't know where he was going, but him and his family were going out of town for Christmas to be with some other family. And he was telling us that his cousin listens to this crazy group called Insane Clown Posse. Now, I'm all the way in Arizona, so word of mouth doesn't really reach as far, you know?
Right.
So we're like, oh, what the fuck is that? And he's telling us like what they rap about and talk about dead bodies and dead chicks and all this. And we're like, what? He came back from Christmas break, and it was like 3 or 4 days after New Year's or whatever. And we went to his house, and he's like, yo, check this out. My cousin got me this tape. Remember I told you about this? And he started playing it for us. And it scared the hell out of me. I was like, because at that time, the craziest, darkest, wickedest hip-hop I've ever heard in my life was Bone Thugs and Harmony, that East 99 record. And even that, at that time, was like Mr. Ouija and stuff was really creepy. So then go from that to ICP, and it's like, oh. So it scared me, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. But most things that scare me, I end up becoming obsessed with.
Maybe a similar thing is how you got your name. Like, was Child's Play, was that movie scary when you first saw that movie?
So Chucky was different. I saw Child's Play when I was a kid. I knew about Chucky by the time I saw the first Child's Play movie. Child's Play 3 was already out.
Okay.
So I saw the first one, and I liked it. But I knew about Chucky for years because Chucky was so culturally known, you know?
Right.
And I mean, I was a little creeped out by dolls, but I liked it because Chucky has this attitude, you know what I mean? Like, so then I saw Child's Play 2, and then I saw Child's Play 3. You know, I actually seen all the Child's Play movies in order from when they were released.
That's tight.
But Chucky's always been my favorite fictional serial killer. I don't know what it is. The fact that he's a doll. I'm really into toys. You know what I mean? Like, I like toys and stuff. So, like, you know.
I recently watched the first Child's Play maybe like a week ago because I was watching old horror movies, and I was going to ask you about that because he is friendly and he's a cute character, but it's terrifying, dude. Like the way it's like Calvin and Hobbes, right? Like halfway through the movie, you wonder if he's actually talking to the kid. I mean, you know, if you've seen the poster and stuff, but like if Andy is making this stuff up or if he's actually possessed, because you don't find out till he first like attacks the mom, right? That he's actually, spoiler alert, that he's actually like haunting this toy. So, I mean, it's similar. It reminds me like a kind of a song ICP would write. Even Toy Box, right? There's a similar kind of theme.
There's Toy Box, and then there's Play With Me.
Oh yeah. Oh right.
That's so why don't you come play with me? And he's a toy, you know? Yeah.
That's what's up. Okay, so let's see. CPN. What would you say is the most valuable piece of psychopathic merch you have? Like rarest thing you have in your collection? Because I know you are a big time collector of all this flavor.
Okay, so there's sentimental. So sentimental wise, I have the Shaggy 2 Dope jersey. And it's just kind of the way I got that jersey back in the day. It's first of all my favorite jersey that I own, and then just the way I got it makes it a little cooler to me.
Okay, how'd you get it? Do you mind sharing that story?
Oh man, so back in during the era when Shaggy released his "Fuck the Fuck Off" record,
holler.
It was
06, right?
Yeah, something like 06. Let's just say I was involved in some shit that involved me driving cars, leaving cars in parking lots, and then eventually somebody's going to pay me a lot of money for leaving a car somewhere. Okay. I was, I'm from the border of Mexico, and
allegedly,
you know, let's just say I drove some cars and dropped them off. Well, this guy owed me money. And I didn't have like a lot on me at the time. And I went to the Shaggy show and I got a phone call. And the Shaggy Show was in Phoenix. The Shaggy Show was in Tempe, which is a suburb of Phoenix. And this guy lived in Phoenix. So he called me and told me he was coming down. My hometown's 4 hours from Phoenix. So he told me he was going to be down there. He's going to leave Phoenix in a few hours, and he has my money. And I told him, I'm in Tempe right now, bro. And I'm like broke. And he's like, oh, where are you at? And I told him where I'm at. And so I'm hanging out with all these juggalos. This dude and his boy rolls up in an Escalade. And they're looking like, you ever seen Breaking Bad?
Yes, of course.
Remember the episode where Gus kills the cartel?
Yes.
Okay, so that dude kind of looks like that cartel dude that he kills. You know what I mean? And then it's his boy. And so they roll up looking fresh as hell. You know what I mean? And I roll up. I get in this Escalade. We drive around the block. I come back. I got 5 Gs.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like, oh, cool. I barely was going to be able to afford gas to get back. Now I'm buying some shit. Like, so I got my jersey.
So you went in and bought some merch?
Yeah. And then as far as other things go, like I have the MC Breed ICP single that they only printed a few hundred copies of. I have 2 of those.
Holler.
I have some old samplers. I don't know if you can find them anymore. You know, Jackal Brothers. I got the 1998 Psychopathic sampler. I have the first annual gathering poster, the second annual gather, like the Subway posters.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Like so, and then I have like my friend Madness from the group Bedlam back in the day. He has this huge collection from like Detroit, and we're talking like, and he's given me a lot of stuff, but we're talking like flyers that were only hung up in Detroit for local shows back in '93. You know, and he's given me a few of those.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so.
You know, I recently, I'd had it and I reacquired it. It's the Chaos Comics Pendulum Tome comic book. Have you ever seen that?
The big one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it.
That's tight. That's tight.
I have that one, and then I have them all singled as well.
That's tight. And the single and the CDs, it came with the singles. Like the Pendulum Tome had a compilation, but there are songs on those singles that aren't on that compilation, right?
Correct. There's 3 Rida songs that were on. I want to say it was Pendulum 6, but there's 3 songs. There's a CD that came with 3 songs, and they were Rida's. They were Rida's tracks. And those did not make it onto that. And I think the reason being is because Rida's always stole beats. And when they released that as the tome, I think they probably wouldn't allow that. Whatever company was putting it out wouldn't allow that because they didn't have the permission for those beats. That's what I think happened.
But I'm sure they're on YouTube, right? All over.
Yeah. One of them is like What Writers Do for Money. One of them is Who Wanna Flex. And I forgot what the third one was.
Your memory is amazing. You've built your channel, and it's so cool having been following your channel for a few years. Like, how often do you post, and what have you found works well with the CPN YouTube, and what have you found that like doesn't work so well with building it? Because you've done a really good job with that.
I mean, obviously, what works well is the three ingredients is have content that people are going to want to see. You know what I mean? People are going to be interested in. So there's beef, and then there's other things too. But just there's that, and be consistent on your schedule. You have to have a schedule now too, because YouTube did the whole algorithm bullshit. So if you go off schedule, it messes up your algorithm, and like people don't get notified as often, and it's BS.
You need them 15 minutes or longer, right?
YouTube just recently changed that.
They did.
I got an email. If you're a YouTube partner, you got this email. There's an email saying there are certain things that we're not allowed, like when it comes to advertising and everything, for videos under 10 minutes. And now they're allowing that for videos under 10 minutes. So
okay, that's what's up. And you tend to go live and then post the full show, right? And that's been like interesting to see. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing the podcast. So the podcast in the format that it is, I've been doing since 2017. With an actual schedule and segments and all that I've been doing since 2017. As far as going live, though, and just doing podcasts live, I did them for a few years when that capability was there for YouTube. I did them for a few years, but it was I didn't have a schedule. Just whenever I felt like it, I did it.
Yeah. And now, so how often do you post content? Like a few times a week or something?
Yeah. So as of now, I haven't been posting a lot. And the reason I haven't is because basically I was living with this woman for like 5 years. And towards more the beginning of last year, me and her decided to separate. We weren't married or anything, but you lived with someone for 5 years. So, and so we decided to separate. The relationship wasn't working and all this other stuff. But, we had like this house that we were paying together. We had this car that we were paying together and all this. So I was like, okay, we need to like separate our names from the car, the house, our cell phone bill, like just everything.
Yeah.
And so the deal was I was gonna go ahead and live there, just move into my office room pretty much. And I still live there until the end of 2019, and then I'll be out. And somewhere in 2019, me and my now wife basically connected, and I came up to visit in December, and she told me I'm not allowed to leave. And then we ran off and eloped in Nashville.
Hey.
But yeah, so I told everybody, I said, look, I don't know. I don't have the means right now to do the podcast in the fashion that I do it. I don't have those means. So the podcast is going on hold, and I will, I'll let you know when it comes back.
So taking a break, but already having like a popular channel, do you find that people are watching the old stuff more, or has it kind of slowed down with the growth, or the fact that you're not doing as much new content, has that not really affected your audience?
So, I mean, it does affect because I don't get the newer viewers.
Yeah.
Most people, if you're subscribed to a channel, you're waiting for the new videos to drop. Most people, unless they're bored one day, are not going to go on, hey, I'm subscribed to this person. Let me go ahead and go through his old channel and start watching, through his channel, start watching old videos. That usually doesn't happen. But I will say that looking at my statistics, I hadn't stopped growing. Like, I haven't stopped getting subscribers. My subscribers are still increasing, just not as rapidly as they were. I haven't stopped getting enough views to get paid every month. Just it's a lot more decreased, than it would be have I been putting out, 2 to 3 pieces of new content every week as I was previously. So it hasn't stopped, but it has definitely slowed.
Okay.
So the podcast is coming back. Actually, we've been filming like the new intro. I've been designing the new layout and the new intros for segments, adding segments, and taking away certain segments, adding new segments, and so I mean, I've been designing the return of it.
That's what's up. Okay, so let's get into it. Can we talk about the visit you paid to Magic Ninja headquarters?
For anyone in your audience that doesn't know, Twiztid and me don't get along. They don't like what I have to say about them as far as Juggalo culture goes. And I think what they really don't like is the fact that I say these things. And yeah, there are people angry with me, but then there's a lot of people going, dude, finally somebody had the balls to say it. You know what I mean? Like, and the fact that they could see that, it's like a window that allows people to be like, yo, like,
right.
A lot more people are disappointed with you guys than you think, I'm not saying they're failing because of it. I just think it was a shock to them that a lot more people are disappointed with them than they thought would be, Monoxide literally made a threat to me on Instagram a few months prior to this incident. He called me out by my real name on Facebook, He said, I want to give a special shout out to Raya Jernigan from Tucson, Arizona. Happy birthday, boy. We're going to send you a Christmas present, too. And he's like smiling. Now, if you know anything about street language, that's a threat.
Was it your birthday?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a threat. That's literally like happy birthday, boy, and we gonna send you a Christmas present. That's a way to threaten somebody legally. You know what I mean? That's how there's certain movies where they teach you about stuff like that too. Like when people say, "Oh, we threw a party for these people," meaning like we jumped and robbed these people. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I was like, that's like.
Were you in Tucson or you'd moved?
I was in Tucson at the time. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
And I was like, this fool just threatened me publicly. Like, okay. So I went to Detroit for Hollow Wicked. And I was sitting in this hotel with some homies. And I said, man, since I'm in Detroit, because I was touring around Detroit, like I went to the Fago warehouse. You know, I went and saw a bunch of stuff. I'd never been to Detroit before. I went to
That's tight.
I went to what's that place for hardcore pawn? You know, American Jewelries and Loans or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I went there and bought a chain. You know, I was like, oh, cool. But so I was talking and somebody said, yeah, you should go tour the MNE building. And I said, I know, right? I should go ask Mono for my birthday present. And then I went,
oh, God.
This would make some amazing content, actually. So I went there. I didn't tell anybody I posted on Facebook that.
Did you stream it live?
I did.
Oh, boy.
That video is live, is a live stream. So I just parked and got off, and CPN goes to MNE. Hey, what's up, y'all? We out here. Like, I don't care. Like, what's good, you know? So I'm walking around the building and stuff, and I find an entrance, and there's a bathroom, and I just happen to have to pee. So I'm like, this is perfect. It's owned by State Farm.
Okay.
And so like the big State Farm thing is in front, but then there's other businesses. It's like a plaza. And from what I understand, their whole label is located inside the plaza. You have to actually go in and upstairs, and then they own the top part. And that's something that's been publicly put out by some of their people, so I'm not like, putting out any secret information. But anyway, so I'm like, how do I get to the MNE part? So I'm walking in, there's a bathroom here. I walk out, and there's two dudes walking up to me. Now, I could have ran. There was a way for me to run. And they're wearing, dudes wearing a Twiztid sweater, other dudes wearing. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Oh, wow, because they recognize you.
Oh, yeah. Guy's name is Dustin. He walked up. What the hell are you doing here? And he slapped my phone out my hand, and he was like, you better get out of here. You're dead, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll leave. And I'm like, yeah, let me get my phone. He's like, no. He picked up my phone, and I was like, okay, well, let me get my phone. He's like, no. I'm like, give me my phone. You know what I mean?
Did he know you were streaming? Probably, right?
Yeah, they were watching, bro. They watch.
Okay.
They actually watch. And I'm pretty sure as soon as somebody saw it, people got phone calls like, yo, he's at your building right now.
Right, okay.
And so, and he's like, no, fuck your phone. And he starts trying to grab me, and I'm squirming away from him and stuff. And I do this thing when I'm making, people don't seem to understand this thing that I will make fun of somebody trying to aggress at me. You know what I mean? I'm 6'3". I used to do backyard wrestling. I've had my head busted open by steel chairs. I can't tell you how many times. People coming and swinging on me is not an issue. The pain threshold, it's funny to me a lot of the times. So anyway, he's grabbing on me, and I'm going, oh, what the fuck, man? What are you doing? But fam, and I'm screaming all this, fam, stop it, no. And I'm smiling the whole time I'm doing it, right?
And that just probably made him more mad.
Yeah, so that made him more pissed off. And so the stream cuts. If you were watching live, the stream cut for 7 to 8 minutes. And everybody was what just happened? People were like, did he die? What's happening? And so So he's trying to grab on me and this, that, and the other, and I'm pulling away from him. And like, I'm like, dude, like, what the hell's y'all's problem? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, seriously, give me my phone. And they're telling me like, leave, you better get out of here. And I'm like, give me my damn phone and I will leave. Okay. Hand me my phone and I'll bounce, bro. And he's like, no, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm keeping your damn phone. So I went in on him to get my phone. And when I went to go try to snatch my phone from him, he decked me in the chin. And so, like...
Oh, boy.
And, like, it's one of those things, like, you know, like, I don't know if you've ever been swung on, but you could tell when someone, like, puts effort into it. So he's like, oh, boom, and he decks me in the chin. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, that's what we're doing. And then I touch my face. I don't feel anything. Like, I'm like, what? What? I'm like, bro, is that really how hard you hit? Is that seriously how hard you hit? Because if you're trying to fight me, you're going to have a problem, dog. And so me and him are just arguing. Like at this point, like we're in each other's faces just yelling. And I'm telling him, hit me again. I dare you. I dare you. And of course, he never hit me again. But we're arguing. I'm like, dude, give me my damn phone. And he wouldn't give me the phones. And so the other dude that was with him is like, you better leave. We're calling the police. You know, you're trespassing, this, that, and the other. And I said, oh, yeah? If you want to play the police game, fine. I'm going to walk to that gas station right there and call the police myself then. How about that? I'm going to tell him I came walking up here. You came out, assaulted me, and stole my property. Let's see who wins that war. And so I go walking away, and he comes like running after me. And at this point, I'm thinking we're going to have to fight. We're going to have to actually fight. So I turn back around. Me and him start arguing again and again and again. And then he finally walks back and asks his other people about giving me my phone back. And so he's like, if you want your phone, come get it out my hand, pussy. And so I walked over, snatched it out of his hand, and looked him dead in the eyes. Was like, bro, you hit like a straight up bitch. And it was like, get out of here.
And this was all streamed? The second
part?
Well, no,
that part wasn't streamed. Like, that's the part that all goes off.
Oh, the 7 minutes.
Yeah. So I turned the phone back on and resumed the stream, and I'm like, all right, so that just happened. And, you know, and the whole time I'm smiling, right? So I go walking away. I'm yelling at him, bro, you hit like a bitch, blah, blah, blah. I get in the car. And as I'm pulling out, I'm rolling down the window. I just pissed in your building, fam. You know, and then I get out of there. And I go to another parking lot, talk to people real quick, and then I stop the stream. A week or two later, or like within that week, the story became that I went to Magic Ninja and these dudes beat the dog shit out of me. And I'm like, that is not what happened.
So Monoxide was going Instagram Live talking about it?
Mono went on Instagram, said that Dustin came out, decked me, I fell to the ground, and that he just on me and beat the shit out of me. And I was like, I know they hate my guts and they hate the fact that I'm on YouTube doing what I do. I literally told Monoxide, I said, I will make you a deal. You guys have security cameras all around that place. If you release the security video and the video shows me going off my feet and hitting the ground at any time, I will quit YouTube forever. Like forever. And of course, like, it didn't happen, you know? It's like, it's bullshit, bro. It's just bullshit. It's like, but I think they wanted that win and their fans want that win. Like, the person who was talking about us, we finally got the retribution on him.
Right. And he came here and don't come to our office and yada, yada.
Yeah. Because, I mean, do you really want to be the guy who made threats to a dude multiple times and then that dude literally shows up to your employment by himself and walked away without a scratch on him? Like, do you want to be that guy? And do the fans want to be the fans of those guys? No, they don't. So they have to have this story, this elaborate story.
Will Dark Lotus ever get back together? Like, that's kind of what I'm wondering. How much of this is for show and how much of it is like real?
Here's the thing. I'm not saying Dark Lotus will never get back together. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. There's a lot of feelings there. You know, when all the stuff of the personal stuff that's come out on both of their ends that they've released about like what these two entities have done to each other. And I'm not saying any one of them's right or any one of them's wrong. You know, they both share probably in a lot of right and wrong and in the big picture of it all.
Yeah.
But I know Jay, 2 gatherings ago, said that Twiztid has put them in a position where they can no longer work with them. So don't expect them or Magic Ninja to be represented with them next year, the year after, 5 years from now. Just stop expecting it. It's not going to happen. Now, people change their minds, and I can see at some point in time there's going to be some sit-downs and some men are going to converse and everyone's going to come to an understanding. Because what's happening right now, and this is for both ICP and Twiztid, this is Psychopathic and Magic Ninja, neither one of these camps are making close to the amount of money that they would be making if they were all together and all doing the thing. Because this whole community was based on like this whole aspect and concept of family and homies and this, that, and the other. And both camps have like not drawn as much anymore. People aren't buying the merch. It's almost like the facade, like the all the curtains came down and everyone saw all the strings and everything, and it just doesn't look as cool anymore. You know, anything's possible, and I feel that at some point they will come back together.
I know you've talked about this ad nauseum, but I know some of the listeners might not know the details.
Right. So the funny thing is the Otis and Samantha thing is something I kind of steered clear of for the most part until they themselves said something. You know what I mean? Because we knew about it, but it wasn't talked about. And then ICP put out statements about it. Okay, we could talk about that now because they talked about it. You know, same thing with Otis put out a statement. Okay, well, I'm going to talk about Otis' statement that is connected to the situation. So, but basically, Otis, Young Wicked, was a member of Psychopathic Records. He's a rapper signed to Psychopathic Records. Younger dude, you know. And, you know, as far as the way he looks and all that, I'm pretty sure a lot of ladies think he's cute and he's hot and stuff. He has that amazing hair and, you know, but he's edgy. But, you know, like, he's. And
a very good producer, right? Like musically. Yeah. He's got skills, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's Pony Boy from The Outsiders in a sense, you know what I mean? But, you know, and all dreamy and stuff to the ladies. But then he's a music producer and he raps and he sings. You know what I mean? So while he was signed there, he started sneaking around with Violent J's niece.
Were they Hatchet House was like the subsidiary of Psychopathic,
correct?
Right? Or were they signed to Psychopathic after that deal?
No, so when they originally got signed, they were signed to Psychopathic. They put out an album called Blood In, Blood Out.
Great album.
And it came out on Psychopathic Records. When Hatchet House was established, they were moved over to Hatchet House. Now, some people think, oh, that was a downgrade. I think it was more like, well, A and B did well enough on Psychopathic, so if we put them on Hatchet House, that'll help build up the Hatchet House brand.
Okay.
You know, I think that's pretty much what they did there. I don't understand the whole concept of sub-labels connected to other labels because I'm like, why not just put it out then? You know, like you can't have this picture on your CD. You can have this picture on your CD. Maybe it's a legal thing. You know, maybe it's like, well, they can play around with stuff on Hatchet House, and if anyone gets mad and sues, you can't sue Psychopathic, but you can sue Hatchet House.
Right, or like a tax thing, right? Like a way to have deductions and a way to funnel money around it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, there is that too. I'm just saying, other than those reasons, you know, other than legal loopholes, what's the point, you know? But yeah, so they had some stuff come out on Hatchet House, but he was very involved with like the Missing Link, Lost and Found. Very
really?
Involved. Oh yeah, like he's on a lot of the hooks, like that song Explosions. He does the hook for that, you know. He's all over that record doing harmonies and singing and hooks and stuff.
You know what song I like is that song Found. That's great.
Yeah,
song. Did you work on that?
Yeah.
That's such a good song.
He was
man.
very involved in those two albums. And then I think he started getting even bigger because he put out, have you seen that music video of his, YWG? And so I was like, yo, this shit is dope. Well, anyway, while all that's going on behind the scenes, he was sneaking around with Violent J's niece, which is Jump Steady's daughter. And I want to say she's like 19 or 20 at the time.
I remember she raps on, what is it? The third Forgotten Freshness. We're family. We're family. The hidden track.
Yeah.
And that's crazy that she grew up.
Yeah. And she also does a song with Jump Steady on
Fine Guillotine.
On the Chaos Theory.
Oh, for real? She's on that?
Yeah. It's a secret song at the end. Like you have to have it's a secret song. It's called Samsung.
Just as a side, Jump Steady's such a real nice, loyal, great guy. So I would just want to give him a shout out.
Yeah, no shade to them at all. You know, I love Jump Steady to death. Every time I see him, me and him talk about The Witcher all the time because I'm a huge fan of The Witcher, and so is he. You know,
he's just such a good guy, man. And he put me on with The Gathering and that show where I met you, and like he's just always been cool. So yeah.
So Otis, Young Wicked, is sneaking around with Jump Steady's daughter. Now, of course, it takes two and blah, 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 but you should also know, like, if you have to sneak around with somebody, it's probably not a good idea because they're probably not going to like it.
Right.
And so when that all got found out, of course, there was issues. And apparently, according to Jay, they were still going to allow him to release music on the label, but they fired him as a producer. He's not going to be producing anymore. And then Young Wicked just left the label. And then as soon as 2017 Twiztid came out, we just signed Young Wicked. And it's funny because they'll argue that wasn't a shot at Jay. I'm like, yes, it was.
Well, and then Boondocks and Blaze and like a lot of the artists that ICP had invested in and built up, right? And that was, I don't know, like felt kind of like profiting off a brand. And also I remember seeing like them in New York and they played First Day Out and seeing them at Warped Tour with merch that said whoop whoop. And I'm like, bro, like this is a brand that you guys have curated together.
So the only thing I really lost respect for Twiztid for was their decision to not play the Juggalo March, to not be involved in it, to just not do anything. You know, it's like you spent the last 20 years of your career telling us, the fans, that you're here for us always, literally always, and that, you know, we're family and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And the one fight that we're all trying to be in together, you know, the one fight that's actually important to us, that's important for us. You just turned your back and walked away from that. That's like to me, that was a slap in the face. And that was just a back turn. To me, that was no different than if I'm walking down the street and like 5 dudes come out and start jumping me and my boys stand on the side of the street and just watch it happen. You know what I mean? And don't do anything. To me, that was the same thing that they did to us. So, so that's where...
Was it personal or they just felt like it was not going to be an effective protest or... Why?
So I feel they were mad that they weren't getting paid because it was a free event.
Okay, and they had the concert.
Yeah, and they had the concert and stuff, and they were just ICP was basically like, look, we're not paying anybody to perform. We're not even getting paid to perform. We're actually paying to be able to put on this protest. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to pay anybody, you know. But if you got as much love as you say you do, you know, it should be nothing for you to take a day out of your busy schedule where you have over a year worth in advance to make a plan to just come up here, you know, speak, march with us, get on a microphone, spit some rhymes for 20 minutes, and just like, can you not be a celebrity? I'll tell you this, too, when it comes to Juggalo artists, and this is just something I got to say, when it comes to scheduling this gathering in the Matrix, it was easier working with Gorilla Zoe, who's a mainstream artist,
right?
Than it was like a lot of people who are like, we got nothing but Juggalo love. There's so many of those, like, yo, it's like a nightmare working with you people. Like, what are you doing? It's like everybody's just scrounging for their little piece of everything. And it's like, bro, like, come on. Like, we're all like quarantined in our house. We're all stuck in our house. Like, and everyone wants to, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? And so, but when it comes to the March, that was the issue I had with Twiztid. As far as anything else goes, now, when it came to them signing Young Wicked, when it came to all the sneak disses and everything, I'm not saying they shouldn't have done that. I'm not saying I'm even mad that they done that. I'm saying don't do that and then get on a thing a week later and be like, listen, we're not trying to have beef and we're not trying to do this and we just want to go our own separate way. We don't want to be doing all this beef stuff and we're not trying to fire shots at Jay and all this. And then there's some videos that some kid got recorded where he met them and they were talking hellish shit about Jay.
Did they know they're being recorded?
They did not. Not at the time.
If someone had put me on like that, I would be down to ride for them to the end. But I don't know all the details, so I can't put words in their mouths. But I don't know. That's what felt weird to me too. Loyalty. Because I remember seeing Monoxide do an Instagram post talking about the Underground Superstars Unlimited or whatever, that would have ended just as big without ICP. What was the name of their group? Underground Superstars?
Oh, yeah. I forgot what he said. Yeah, but yeah, and he said that he would have been just as big. And even, I think he said I would have been just as big or bigger.
And that was like, subjectively speaking, I wouldn't have heard of them because it all came from Forgotten Freshness and the $85 an hour, right? That was like my introduction to them. But I'm not trying to take sides or criticize. I'm just trying to analyze. I know you know more than I do, and I'm just hoping there's a redemption and like that there's going to be a peace between the two camps. You know what I'm saying? Because there should be. It's all love, really.
Right. Well, I mean, on my end, like me personally, because people ask me all the time, when they get back together, what are you going to do if you go to a gathering and Twiztid has a set? And on my end, I'm like, I'm going to chill at my camp and drink. I'm not going to go to their set. But that's only because I have more personal issues with them now that has stemmed from my YouTube channel. But I do, in fact, have more personal issues with these people now. And it's multiple incidences, you know. And
what was the thing at Dark Carnival Games? I remember the show got moved because something happened in the lobby of the hotel. I don't know if we can talk about it or if this is merely speculation, but some friends of theirs flashing some sort of metallic objects in the lobby.
Yeah, so
you know what I'm talking about?
some friends of theirs rolled up the night before. There were people out there with their kids and stuff. They basically started throwing rocks at people. People were grabbing their kids. Kids almost got like hit with rocks. They jumped one kid on the side of the building, busted his face open with a skateboard. And yes, there was some metallic objects being flashed. And then the next day, there was issues with people of that group like going into DCG Con and starting fights with people and flashing some things. So the whole thing got like the hotel stopped the convention part, and then the show got moved over to the Roxy in Denver,
which actually was, I think, a cool venue. And I was so grateful because I still got to play. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
That was cool.
I unfortunately missed your set because by the time the people I was riding with, by the time we got there, when we got in, Max Sabbath was on.
Yo, man. And they put me on second. I was after Suicide.
Yeah.
You know, that dude. Yeah, so it was okay. But you caught us at the gathering, and I gave you the shout out during the freestyle.
Yep.
That late night set. How many gatherings have you been to?
9. This year was supposed to be my 10th.
What was one of your favorite stories of all those years at the gathering?
So I'd say I'm a big wrestling mark, right? And so in 2011, I was at Violent J's barbecue bash that he had every year. And that year he had basically a Michael Jackson impersonator versus a Prince impersonator basically battling. You know what I mean? Like, who's the doper of the two? The year before, they had a Michael Jackson. They had a Michael Jackson, a white Michael Jackson versus black Michael Jackson impersonators. And then whoever won between that went on to next year's. and it was Michael Jackson versus Prince. The white one won in 2010, and then so going into 2011, it was white Michael Jackson versus Prince. So anyway, so we were watching that, and then I turn around, and I see X-Pac chilling right there. And I'm like, oh, shit, it's X-Pac. So I walk over. I have my sunglasses on, a beer. I'm like, yo, what's up, X-Pac? I just start having this conversation. And then I hear, hey. And I turn around, and it's Scott Hall. And he's like, hey, excuse me. Because I'm standing right in the way of getting in his golf cart. So I move out the way, and he comes walking by, and he almost kind of stumbles and, like, kind of holds himself up on my shoulder. And I'm like, oh, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. And then the Michael Jackson and Prince impersonators come out, and they're talking, and I'm talking to them and stuff. And I'm like, okay, wait. So I'm sitting here with looks like Prince, looks like Michael Jackson, and actual X-Pac, and actual Scott Hall. And I'm buzzed as shit right now. This is the greatest day of my life.
That's what's up. That's like all the extra social stuff beyond just the concerts, right? Like just the wildness of the amalgam of events. And yeah, man, it was cool how when they postponed it, they got a lot of good press for being making a smart move. They were one of the first people to like say we can't do this with the COVID, and that was cool to see them get love for that.
Right.
Put it back. What the YouTube channel? So if you go on YouTube and write ChildsPlayNinja, what is it? CP Ninja, is that the username?
No, it'll actually still be ChildsPlayNinja. The C, the P, and the N in ChildsPlayNinja are all capitalized. But even if you type it in not that way, just ChildsPlayNinja, you'll find me, and you'll find my cartoon picture with the cigarette in my mouth and the middle fingers in the air, and yeah.
Well, give my man a follow because he has a great channel and he's got a lot of heart and passion. And he's been really supportive and kind to me during my years finding my place within the community. So I appreciate that, man. You've always been nice, and I appreciate your time, dude. This has been a good conversation.
Well, I mean, you do nerd stuff, so I'm obviously intrigued. So I'm a huge gamer, and I'm a nerd. So
let's end with a song. I like to end with a song. Do you have like a favorite Juggalo track?
ICP, Are You Wicked?
Good call. This is ICP, Are You Wicked?
Help someone would stop this. Tell me how you feeling. Them folks desperately need healing. Tell me how you aching. Them folks children cold and shaking. Tell me how you ready. Them folks aiming shotgun steady and bang. Souls are people too. Life don't stop but good times do. But it don't matter cause they ain't you. Tell me motherfuckers the obvious truth. Are you that wicked? 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 Are you that wicked?
Great recommendation. Thank you, CPN. That was from ICP's Pendulum number 10 comic book that came with the CD and also was on the Pendulum compilation that came out with the Pendulum tome. If you want to hear us talk about this book and this song, check us out on Hatchet Chat. You can subscribe on YouTube. Just type MC Lars. Click subscribe. This Wednesday, we're talking to Rude Boy about Misery's debut EP. Next episode in 2 weeks, we will be back on January 4th with Scott Shoulder, who is a music industry lawyer, and we talk about copyright law. So I know you're probably thinking like, oh, copyright law, proprietary, ownership of intellectual property, Lars. Oh, that sounds boring. It's actually really tight. We talk about like the legalities of parodies and sampling, and we get into the nitty gritty. Scott's a cool dude who I met through my friend DJ Rostar. So January 4th, we'll be back with episode 115. Until then, happy holidays, happy new year. Thank you all for the support. Again, this Saturday is the Four-Eyed Horseman Boxing Day show. And then Wednesday is the New Year's Eve show for the Patreon Lartians. And finally, on New Year's Eve, I'm playing First Night Monterey remotely, which is a festival in Monterey. I played it last year in person, but this year, nope, not happening. So check that out. Thank you all for your support and happy holidays. Peace. Oh, and thanks to ChildsPlayNinja for being on the show.